right, Eurogamer Open. Joined by Gunnerside. We're gonna see what
That's
the
right.
hell is going on with all this business. So, who are we looking at? What's going on in the Eurogamer Open? Who the fuck are these people?
Well, that's a great
Let's
question.
break all that down for me really quickly.
So many strangers.
I'm feeling a little stranger danger, I'm not gonna lie. I'm feeling like maybe there's a bad touch out there that I don't know about.
Huh.
Who are these people?
So,
The dreaded Lurgy? First place?
with Nurgle, nonetheless.
Who are all these Nurgle people? There's so many of
Yeah.
them. It's like a page full of Nurgle. Now, have any of these guys played before? Are they new? Do you know?
I think some of them have played in other leagues, but most of them are completely new, in fact.
And that's why we see so many Nurgle.
Maybe, probably.
But it is surprising to see a Nurgle team in first, a Nurgle team in second, and a Nurgle team in fifth. Now, how many of these coaches will go to playoffs?
Great question. Probably none.
Probably none. I'm not 100%
They're
familiar
Nurgle.
with the format, so I don't know. Is it top 4? Is it top 8?
It's Eurogamer, so I'm actually not sure if anyone even goes to playoffs.
Ah, the format's so all over the place now with Eurogamer and play-ins and play-outs and play-up Inyas, and I don't know what's going on in Rebel these days. I just coach my
It
shitty
doesn't
team.
really matter. Exactly. Let's take a look at these teams and talk some about them.
Well, let's start it off with first place, Vanguard 78 and the dreaded Lurgy. Now, I gotta look them up because there's 5 pages of teams.
Ah, perfect.
Oh my lord, there's so many. I thought it said the dreaded Larry for a second. That would be more intimidating to me.
Would it?
Now, not a whole lot to look at here. Dreadlord
Well.
Syphilis, Dark Lord Gonorrhea. I like these names, I'm not gonna lie.
Indeed, quite interesting. Probably most interesting part is wrestle on these rotters.
I don't hate that skill. I would like to see
no,
some
I don't.
kick.
Kick and dirty player, if you ask me.
Oh, I do. I do ask you, and I do agree with you. That's a great idea. A dirty player would be amazing to see on a team like this.
Yeah, especially with no killer.
Now, it looks like he's at a point, too, where he could maybe shit-can one of them and replace it with a Pestigore and not have to worry so much about team value. What do you
Well,
think?
he could, but getting that extra development on these Pestigores will be very important, and you really don't want to spread that out yet. Probably want to get that killer ASAP before you get any more Pestigores, really. But I could see a valid argument with replacing one of these rotters.
Sure, or you just add 2 if you're not worried about it. He's at 1190, puts him at 1270, maybe a little high for this division.
Yeah. So few starting skills too, right?
Yeah, almost
Do you
none.
really... Exactly. Do you really want to start giving away wizards this early?
Not as Nurgle. Not at
No,
all.
absolutely not.
Now, it's a fairly Dark Elf heavy division as well, so that's also another issue.
Well, issue opportunity? Who knows?
You don't want to give a wizard up to those guys, I'll tell you that much. Especially not with your
Yeah.
movement 5, maybe movement 6 on these Pestigores. Slow team does not want to be giving wizards up to anybody.
No, I don't think so.
Now, what are we looking at for this guy? 3 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses. Average score per match is 1.
That's the Nurgle way.
It definitely is. Now,
Pity has no block on those Nurgle warriors, and before he gets a new Pestigore, I think he needs a new warrior. He only has 3 out of the 4, I think.
let's take a look. I might have missed that. Looks like he's got Dreadlord Syphilis, Gonorrhea, Chlamydia, and that is it. So a trio you probably don't want, or you're going to be very itchy. Whoa. I'm trying to find my volume here. It's very hard. There we go. So if you look at the statistics for this team, they have injured 40 players in 3 games.
Injured 40, you say?
4-0, that's right.
That's actually shocking. Maybe that's one of the reasons they went 3-0-0 with low TV Nurgle.
That is a big number. Now, I don't know how it
Without a
counts,
doubt.
because the way it mixes it up is sort of convoluted inside the Blood Bowl manager side. The stats aren't as clear as day. Now, we've got 5 touchdowns scored, 4 casualties inflicted, but then 40 injuries inflicted, so does that maybe mean 40 armor breaks?
I think it might be, because over on Rebel.net I find 13 stuns, 7 KOs, 2 casualties.
Ah. That makes much more sense that way.
I think so.
Now, it shows this team has only given up 1 touchdown this season so far, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, actually it is.
Yeah.
Like, you'd think Nurgle would go for the 2-1 grind, but I guess not. Well, no, 1-0 is pretty average for Nurgle. 2-1 grind, nah.
Right. Especially with no one dedicated to picking up the ball.
Especially, yeah.
Oh, all in all, a good-looking team. A couple skill changes might be in order, or some additions, i.e. kick dirty player.
Some SPP on the Warriors, really necessary, I think, to get that block.
Indeed. Who are we looking at next in the leaderboard?
I think that's the Dark Elf. Politicos.
Politicos. Coached by Demern Nickel.
That's right.
If we can find him here.
Interesting team, to say the least.
Now, as an elf coach, tell me what you think here.
Well, I'm not a Dark Elf coach. I'm a High Elf coach, but I see a distinct lack of positionals. And I'm not sure where the money went, considering he only has 2 rerolls. Perhaps they died? I mean, that's the only real, like, thing I can think of here. 4 blitzers is a good start, but no runner, no witch elf. Kind of takes away some of the spirit of the team. We also have a level pending on Tony Wur, I think. Never like to see that.
Now, I don't know anything. All you elves look the same to me, but...
Not very many skills, rather a pretty even distribution on that SPP. Would like to see some vanity passes on those 2 blitzers, Tomb Watson and Alec Douglas Exhume. And on Boris, to get that early level, like, dodge is so invaluable early on.
Sure.
You really, really need it. Otherwise, like, especially with 2 rerolls, like, the ones will be coming thick and fast. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the standard Dark Elf build, just to be on the safe side as far as BB tactics goes, was 4 blitzers, the rest linemen, 2 rerolls, and you call it a day.
That is probably the safest one, but I prefer to have a Witch Elf mixed in. Getting that frenzy could really catch some people off guard when they're not careful near the sidelines. I think either a Witch Elf or a new reroll should be the highest priority here, but with only 10k cash, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Surely not before the season's out.
No. What do we think about the pending level on Tony? What do we think we'll see? Probably dodge?
Probably dodge. If it's a double, do you take Mighty Blow or do you take guard?
Well, that is a disputed question among elf coaches. I would prefer Mighty Blow because I like to see blood, but guard might be better. I'm not entirely sure. I took Mighty Blow on my high elf blitzer.
So. And how'd that work out for you?
Very well, actually.
Well, there you go. You heard it. Tony Wur, Mighty Blow on doubles. Normal roll, what? Dodge, sidestep?
Dodge.
Sidestep
for sure. After that, maybe tackle. You'll have to see.
The Dark Elves are traditionally a very sidestep-heavy team.
That's right.
So, I wasn't sure what order you went in, though.
Dodge first skill on every player, probably, except for a lineman who gets kick, is what I usually do.
Now, what do you think of this? Here's a Dark Elf team with 3 touchdowns, 3 casualties, 0 passing yards this season.
Now, that's something I don't really enjoy seeing. Passing is such an incredibly good way of getting that early SPP. Those vanity passes, just like being in the backfield,
All
passing
right.
one to one another,
Settle down, Andy
very
Davo.
important. Perhaps he has influenced me a little too much, but
You start off the
yeah,
game, you pick up on a 2, you throw a vanity pass on a 2, catch on a 2, you get 1 SPP, right? That's the standard?
exactly.
Okay. And
Rinse, repeat for 16 turns.
right. Unless you don't have rerolls, right? Then you don't do that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you still might actually, depending on how greedy you are, but perhaps not.
Huh. Well, now it looks like from what I've seen so far in this tournament, I don't know who's new and who's old hat for the game, but a lot of these Dark Elf teams are very, very bashy. They're getting in the scrum, they're throwing punches, they're taking punches. I don't know how well that strategy works. Long term, it's definitely not successful.
Perhaps not, but if you're gonna do it with any elf team, Dark Elves are as good as any. Probably the best, really.
Huh. And that would explain why he's got 3 casualties inflicted so far out of 2 games, and only 1 casualty sustained.
Yeah. Perhaps the dodging will start being more relevant once he gets some dodge players, because like you'd rather take a 2-die than dodge out, without dodge at least. So.
Sure. That does make sense. Now versus all these Nurgle though, are you going to want to take that 2-die with the old foul appearance in your face? That's a tough call.
That's fair.
So, that is Politicos, coached by Demir Nickel.
Yes, a very good looking team, although lacking on positionals maybe, and some levels.
Now here's where we get to one of my favorites. It's Brimful of Ashes, coached by Finomino, which kind of makes me, I don't know why, it makes my mind immediately go to Manamana.
Oh really? Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I like it.
Sure. So let's take a look at them. They're an undead team.
That's right.
Sitting at 1,010 team value.
With a MNG Ghoul, if I'm not mistaken, so it's even higher, really.
Yeah, what did he get there? Looks like just a miss next game. So that's just fine.
Luckily. Yeah.
Now, I watched that last match. He did have a Ghoul die. Jacques de Trunk, or Joe, or I don't know how you say it. Yeah.
Ghouls are very squishy with that AV7 Norwegian, so keeping those safe is very important.
Yep. Yeah, it looks like that one bit the dust. It was quite the tussle. The only thing kind of in the last game that I saw was, you know, if you're going to play Dark Elves and you're going to throw a 1-die block, don't roll a skull. And if you do, don't re-roll it into another skull. That's sage advice.
No.
Now, it looks like we got guard on a mummy finally, so that's good. After 3...
That's very important.
Is it 3 games for him, or is it... Yeah, it's 3 games for him, so 2 wins, 1 loss. It's unfortunate that these mummies have not gotten more levels after 3 games than they have.
That is true. Very little SPP, but mummies, if you manage to dodge out, then what are they going to do really with that MA3? They're not exactly going to start chasing.
It's true. The ghouls will do the majority of the chasing. Unfortunately, with 1 ghoul dead and 1 ghoul missed next game, there's not going to be a lot of chasing next game, and he cannot afford to replace the 1.
No, sadly not. Although the white might try with that blodge there.
Yeah, it's not a bad call. Remember, Games Workshop suggests you give them sure hands.
Oh. Sounds like a very good idea. No,
sure.
Please don't. Dodge as a first skill is, well, very good long term, probably.
Sure. Short term, not so much.
No, I don't think so. You really want that early, like, mobile Mighty Blow to start really packing some punch.
Yeah.
But I can see dodge.
Or more guard. Guard wins games.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down.
You know, you have to make up for that strength disadvantage against Nurgle somehow.
It's true. I've heard there were a couple Nurgle in this cup here.
Oh, really? Hadn't noticed
1 or
any.
2.
Huh.
So let's take a look here. 3 touchdowns scored so far, 5 casualties inflicted. quite a few running yards at 234. He passed up that Dark Elf team we just looked at by about 100 yards.
No.
Lots and lots of KOs, and Undead are kind of the KO kings early on, so that's not unusual.
Forecast, not bad. Mighty Blow will do that. Although they sustained 4 casualties too, so that's not great. And a death, so yeah.
Right. I'm showing 6 casualties sustained and a death.
Great.
So it makes me think, with the 6 casualties and the 5 KOs, it makes me think you're not shielding the ghouls.
Yeah, we'll get to that later, but I saw a Necro who put ghouls on the line of scrimmage. Not sure what I think about that.
Maybe he's just got it in for him. I started a Necro team so I could get all my ghouls killed, because fuck them.
Exactly.
I don't hate it. All right, and who does that bring us to? Claverdon BBA, is that right?
I guess we're still going down a list, right, of top coaches.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to get to every single one of them. There's far too many teams.
Well, we could if we sped this up a little. A little much, maybe.
No.
No. Maybe halfway, more or less. We'll try and cover every team, though. We should have like a list of teams we've covered, so we can do the other half next week.
Sure.
Something like that.
Sure. Now, we've still got 2 more weeks. There's a couple games that have already been played, so maybe we'll look at about 15, and then another 15, right? And then one more 15, and that'll be the season.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I like that for him.
Yeah.
We kind of got thrust into this with no real format to go off of, so
yeah,
you're just going to have to deal with it, people.
You'll get more detailed recaps if you join the full proper league. Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Probably.
So this is Claverdon BBA, coached by, is that Lost Ray, or is that, I don't know.
No clue.
I was going to say Loser, but I knew that was wrong.
Oof.
Yeah. I was like, maybe he's just a snarky American like me, and that makes sense. But if not, then I'd just look like an asshole.
Yeah.
So, another Nurgle team. Looks like he did cycle the Rotter for another Pestigore.
That's right. Less skills here.
What do you think of the 1 reroll?
I hate it. I really do. I hate it really bad. It's better now that he has 1 block at least to, blitz with, but his warriors have almost nothing in terms of SPP altogether. So block is still a fair ways off. It'll be a mess. I imagine every game will be a full-on fiesta, really. Until he gets that block.
Do you think he hates the 1 reroll more than you do?
No. I play elves, so 3 rerolls is still bad for me. I can't even imagine 1 reroll starts. Ugh.
You see it in CCL a lot.
There's always an Arian with a 0 reroll start.
Sure. I think the idea is you get enough skills from MVPs to make up for it, but I don't know. And maybe we're both wrong, because this team is sporting a 2-win, 0-draw, 0-loss record so far.
That is correct, yes. So, what do we know?
Apparently nothing. 5 casualties inflicted and 2 kills. So it looks like he's just putting the beat down on everybody.
That's right.
Quite a bully.
Doesn't need block if you don't roll 1 in 9s, right?
That's true. An average score of 1 per touchdown. So, I don't know. It feels risky, but it must be working. So I guess we can just let him go with it.
Yeah. It works for him. What can we do about it?
That brings us on to Rambunctious Rebels with Wraithguard. Now, he's not new, I don't believe. Wraithguard?
Never heard of them.
Oh, maybe he is. I don't know.
Perhaps.
I don't know.
Now, this is a more proper Dark Elf team, if you ask me.
Really? With number 12?
I didn't scroll down far enough before I said that.
It's 90% right.
I respect the pick, but assassins, man. Let's ignore the assassin for now, though.
Did I tell you about my tournament nightmare with assassins?
I don't think you have.
I did. So I was at a tabletop tournament. It's the very last match. We're both at the top table. The guy has a leaping assassin, and I have undead.
Ha!
Yes. So I lost 3 ghouls. I won the game, but I lost 3 ghouls due to leap stab into my cage.
Ha!
It was
amazing. That's the greatest.
Glorious.
No, you can't even be mad about that, can you?
No, it was hilarious every time.
Oh. Right. Well, we do see some more skills on this team, and some more positionals. We see the runner making an appearance.
Yeah. Still no
I
witch
wouldn't
elves.
call it. Yes, that's right. Perhaps they're too expensive for what they bring, in these coaches' opinions. I love Frenzy, but what do I know?
I also love Frenzy. The poor man's tackle.
Exactly. I don't love the runner as much, though. AV7 is just such a liability, especially on defense, right? Where this is a glorified, worse lineman.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way to look at it, really. The starting field dump-off is... Well, it's not great, is it? It really isn't.
Not so much.
Like, if you get your ball blitzed, first of all, you shouldn't. Second of all, your ball will be marked, so it's a 3+ throw to begin with into a 2+ catch if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
So don't love that. The only reason I'd get a runner is because you can get leader very early on and get some TV efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I don't love it. Blodge on both of the blitzers is really good, though.
Yeah, I like that.
That'll definitely make it so that less rerolls will be eaten, and stuff like trying to sack the ball will be easier if you have to make a couple dodges.
Yeah, and
all in all, a solid team, except for Mr. Funny McFun. I'm sure he is very funny, but efficient, right. I'm not sure.
Now, when you're in a short format like this, I view the runner as more of a liability, because you don't want to spend SPP on leader and pass to couple with dump off and stuff like that. It's only 4 games. That's more of a long-term, extensive, persistent league strategy.
That's right. So, I mean, he could have just cut the runner and cut the assassin, gotten a witch instead.
It's true. Let's take a look here. 2 wins, 1 loss. Average score is 1, so 3 touchdowns so far on 3 games, 3 casualties inflicted, 8 passing yards, so it looks like he is farming the SPP, so good for him.
That's what we like to see.
Yeah. Nothing really jumping out as phenomenal. A good amount of running yards, but that's, I think, standard Dark Elf practice.
Yes. They are more of a running team than a passing team.
Yep. Let's move on here. To Pain for Pleasure. All right. Some more Dark Elves. A lot of Nurgle, a lot of Dark Elves.
And finally, we see the appearance of a witch. You seeing the team yet?
And a red cross.
That's right. Nigel on that lineman, I guess.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, especially as he's on 5 SPP, so he probably ate an MVP too. Could be worse, I guess.
I think you still keep it.
Yes.
Especially
yes,
in the short format. Now, he's got a lot of cash banked.
3rd reroll, I suppose. Perhaps a 4th blitzer.
2nd witch elf?
No.
No? No way?
I don't think so. No.
All right.
Not this early on.
4th blitzer then, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Sitting on 11 players.
You have the frenzy. That's right.
Yeah.
Some decent levels. I like the dodge on the blitzers for reasons mentioned before. Although I'm actually not as big of a fan of the block on the Witch Elf.
A lot of people say wrestle. What do you think?
Yes, I think I agree because wrestle makes sacking so much easier, really.
You go
And
wrestle,
that's really what
wrestle tackle, right?
wrestle, strip ball,
Ah,
then tackle.
nice, nice. I like it.
Yes, in the early beginnings of a league, not many people have sure hands. So you could take wrestle, strip ball, and then tackle on another blitzer in the meanwhile until you have proper tackle on the stripper.
Yeah. Now keep in mind, this team has already played 3 games, so they only get one more. So they're not going to see a
That's right.
whole lot more development. Now, do you know what these teams do when the Eurogamer Open is finished?
Don't they take their teams into the full league?
I don't know.
I think they do.
I guess we'll have to get that news and report back next week.
Exactly, because well, we didn't prepare a whole entire lot for this, did we? I mean, 40 teams. What do we like?
I blame Metal. Just blame Metal. It's
Exactly.
fine. God, that guy.
Yeah.
He's a real piece of work.
Exactly.
Now here's another one where we're seeing some passing yards in, but not very many, which leads me to also think, yep, we're just farming the single SPP and moving on. So I don't hate that.
Yeah.
Looks like 1 kill inflicted, 4 casualties. Getting just as many casualties sustained as he's given out, though. So, yeah, he's kind of getting beat up a little bit.
Yes, as Dark Elves do when they kind of try to out-block the Nurgle and stuff.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they're getting stuck in with so many bashy teams, as opposed to maybe Dark Elves versus other elves early on in the season.
Yes, without a doubt. Dark Elves can really struggle against stuff like Bash if they don't have that dodge to get them out of those sticky situations.
At the same time, though, all of you lot should be thankful that it's not just a whole bunch of fucking Chaos Dwarves.
Basically, I think there's only one Shorf team. Thank God. I mean,
just the worst team ever. Cull the bastards.
Please do.
And that brings us to our 8th team. I think it's Chevtech. Is that how you say it?
No clue, as always.
The Stabbing Stabers. I think he meant Stabbers. That's not how I'm reading it, though.
Close enough. Oh, Jesus. Is it a Minotaur? I think it is.
Rat
No,
Ogre.
it's a Rat Ogre. Right.
Splitsy.
Blind.
Now, a lot of coaches say the Rat Ogre has no place on a Skaven team, myself being one of them. What do you think?
It's, like, pretty atrocious, honestly. It really is. Might actually be the worst big guy in the game.
And that's my
Especially
well, except for the Death Roller.
Yeah, probably except for the Death Roller, right? But it's not much better, is it? I mean,
no, it's
like, not only do you only get block on doubles, but it has frenzy, so double the chance for a 1 in 9, basically. Which is not great.
Now, as opposed to, say, the Chaos or even Chaos Dwarf Minotaur that starts with horns, you can easily make a 3-die block with 1 assist, so that makes the Rat Ogre inferior in that department. It does not have mutation access on a normal, unlike the Chaos Minotaur, so getting Claw versus getting double, or block on a double, is a tough call, making it inadequate in that department also. So yeah, it's just 150 team value of bullshit.
Exactly. Like, let's hope he didn't have to sacrifice too much for it. Oh, well, he did.
He did.
He only has 2 gutter runners.
Ugh. Time to buy that third one, but he's only got 70k.
Yep.
Ugh.
10k from a new gutter. Pity.
Yeah. Now the only
3 rerolls though.
3 rerolls. He's got his Apo. And he's got a bunch of Nurgle. So I think he's in a good situation, at least in his opponent's respect. Because he's got a lot of slow teams that he can really take advantage of.
Yes.
Let's take a look.
I mean, gutter runners. Such a good player. Probably the best. One of the best, at least, players in the game.
Out of the box, for sure.
Well, yeah.
Now, he's got both of them here with 1 touchdown away from a level. What do you think about the thrower?
Well, it's a good pick early on, I think, but you don't rebuy him if he dies. I really don't think so.
You just get all for.
Yeah, I mean a gutter carry can be like just as fine basically. Although, well, you don't really want to do the passing game with Skaven, not really.
Right.
So the thrower is, I mean, it's good. It's a good player, but you can play without him. I do think so.
You heard it here first. If Splitsy dies, let him stay dead. Same thing goes with
Yeah.
Dr. Crusher.
I mean, it's Agi 3, right? So might as well carry on an Agi 4 piece.
It's true. Now, I don't
Basically.
like Sure Hands as an early pick for a gutter runner, but I don't hate it as a third or a fourth.
Yeah, I can see that. You might want something along the lines of Wrestle or Block if you're going to carry on him. Perhaps Dauntless if you really want to sack a ball.
Well, if you don't
Although
get the
probably
double
not as a
horns.
Frisco. Yeah.
Yeah.
Horn. If you get a double, you probably take 2 heads.
2 heads for sure.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. And if you get a 10, a 5 plus a 5 on the level up, you totally get movement into sprint to create a natural one-turner.
No, never do that. That's terrible.
Yeah, awful idea. Please never do that.
Don't listen to Gunnerside. He's crazy.
No. Don't listen to a
How
Hive
do you
player.
even get on this fucking show?
What do you mean?
You animal. 10 movement gutter runner. Get out of here.
Other levels we see is Wrestle on the 2 linemen. I like it. I mean, Wrestle is a good skill, but I might have preferred Kick. You know, maybe kick short against a fast team to hope for a blitz and steal that ball for an easy score with those gutter runners. Maybe kick deep against a slow team like Nurgle, which there's a lot of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, kick is so versatile, right?
That's a great skill.
Without a doubt. So I don't hate the levels, but perhaps one of the other linemen could get kick next. I think that would be very nice.
Yeah, and he's got Lashage not far away from a level up. So what do you think about the stats on this team so far for the season?
1 touchdown inflicted and 1 sustained, if I'm right. Well, it's not really ideal, is it?
That's four scores, 1 sustained.
That's odd. I guess Rebel.net is completely messed up, but 4 touchdowns is like pretty good. That's 3 games played, right?
2. I'm showing 2 for these guys.
2 games played. I think that's pretty good. As Skaven, 2 touchdowns per game is quite good. Really racking in that SPP. No real passing, at least not that I can see of.
A measly 4 yards.
Yes, might be nice to maybe pass between some of the gutter runners to get some of that extra SPP, but I'm not sure if you really do that with Skaven.
Yeah, it seems kind of risky.
I
think as opposed to Dark Elves who can kind of shield a little bit, you know, like they could stall if they had to. Skaven don't seem like a naturally stalling team. Like you get the ball, you run it in. The end.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Otherwise, in terms of damage, they have done some damage. They even surfed the player. I guess that Red Ogre is good for something, at least. Not very much, as we can see here. But yeah, all in all, solid. I think it's solid, except for the Rat Ogre, of course.
Sure. Nobody likes the Rat Ogre.
No.
All right.
What's up next?
That takes us to the Injurious Bastards, coached by Sporon, a Lizardman team. It's good to see. It's good to see we're getting a mix now that we're getting out of the top 5.
That's right.
Let's see.
Now, it is interesting to see a Lizardman team relatively far up. You know, usually they don't really start shining until some of the higher TV values. Although they can make some magic happen with that mass strength 4 and, you know, Agi 3 dodge stunty, right?
Yeah. The balls are never safe. As long as you can keep skinks on the field.
And the Croxigore is probably one of the better big guys. I think every Lizardman team starts with one. It's just that good and that important to the team's playstyle.
Yeah. Classic startup is 11 players, all your positionals, 2 rerolls, no apothecary, and it looks like that's what this team went with.
Yes. So that's good.
Now, Komodo, the Croxigore, is 1 SPP away from a level up, so it looks like he ate an MVP somewhere, which is just fine. Now,
yes.
on a double, you obviously take block, but on a
course.
single, there's a lot of, I guess, back and forth between break tackle and guard. And what do you think?
I don't think break tackle would be a very good option because even though it is a 2+ dodge, that's still a 2+ dodge on a loner. So that might be a 2+ to just turn over right there and then. I think it might be a little closer between guard and perhaps stand firm.
Now, I have giant testicles, so I take break tackle first and cage dive on a 4+.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I'm not saying that should be your go-to play, though. If you're put in that situation, you are doing something wrong.
Well, depends. Do you want to go for the win or the style points?
Or both.
Or both, exactly.
Yeah.
If you want to be good, if we're talking good skills, probably guard first.
Okay.
Probably. Especially with this much Nurgle knocking around, right?
Oh, for sure. You're getting on even footing on the strength battle with all the Nurgle.
Problem is that Nurgle has more strength 3 than, of course, the lizards. So you don't really want to start assisting blocks with skinks and leaving them exposed, which is why I really like guard. You can put guard in like the middle of a bunch of players and then, leave them there, basically. They can't dodge out and they're stuck.
They're stuck. No.
So, yeah, I think that's what he probably wants to go for the level.
Yeah, especially in a short-term league like this. Being able to outstrength everybody is going to be huge.
Without a doubt. In terms of levels, block on the Saurus is, the obvious first choice. I think you go block on every Saurus, really. First skill. Even if you roll doubles, probably.
Now, I would beg to disagree that on 1 or 2 of the Saurus or Saurai, or I don't know what the pluralization of it is, you go break tackle, and then you go something like wrestle or normal tackle, and you have a mobile sacker.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, Saurus, they are a very good team, but you can counter them very easily if you mark those Saurus with something like a Rotter or a Zombie.
Yep.
And at that point, with that Agi 1, it'll be a 5+ dodge, which is so horrible. And you can't rely on the skinks either because of that strength 2 and only Agi 3. So break tackle on at least some players has to be a top priority, really.
Yeah. Unless you're Iron Monster, and then you just make that 5-up and it works and it's fine. So we're looking
Sidestep on the kink. Yes, skink.
Kink is fine.
Good. Sure. Sidestep is good. Not too many other options, really. Sneaky Git is bad. Never pick Sneaky Git.
Yeah, never. Catch is okay. I don't mind catch on a couple.
Well, yeah, but you don't really want to play the passing game because Stunty gives -1 to all throws.
Well, it's for the handoff game.
Yeah.
It lets you move the ball further because you pick up in the back, you hand off, you've effectively moved a ridiculous amount of the pitch with just those 2 pieces.
Yeah, I like that.
So we're looking at 4 total touchdowns scored in the season, 2 casualties inflicted. Some pretty light lifting on the casualty front. Maybe get a little more punchy there, guy. Yeah, 1 touchdown sustained, 178 yards running, 0 yards passing. So pretty standard lizard stuff, I feel.
I think so, yeah. Things don't really start getting ridiculous unless you get a Agi 4 skink, something like that.
Right, or the dreaded Blodge skink. Now, a lot of coaches will tell you there's some contention. Do you take block or do you take sure hands? It's a tough call.
That is a good point, actually. because 3+ pickups is not great, is it?
Not really.
No. So yeah, I'm really not sure what you would pick there. I mean, you might even take wrestle, strip ball. I don't know. Probably not a great idea though.
Now you're getting a bit outlandish.
Yes, I think so. Stick to, well, block is the safe option. Safe. Well, I'm not even sure anymore.
I
They're
like
both.
Blodge just to deal with leap teams.
Yeah, I can see that. And Blodge is better on defense than Dodge Surhands.
That's true. And that brings us to more outlandish stuff. We've got Jopen Craft Beers with Tom Racing. Let's take a look at those guys. A Chaos team up here in the top 15.
Mm.
You don't expect that. Although you don't expect 3 Nurgle in the top 5.
Well, exactly, and a Lizardman. This team, this league rather, is all over the place at the moment. Let us take a look at this team. Very little development, I think. Only 1 skill.
Oh, 2 level up spending.
Yes. Yes, that's true, actually. Block wrestle, if they're normals, I think. Block on one and wrestle on the other to have someone who can sack the ball later on.
I like block sure hands. I'll tell you why. I hate reroll on a pickup. Nothing frustrates me more than using a team reroll on a failed pickup.
Especially when you only have 2 rerolls.
Well, I'm showing he's got 3 now.
Says 3, that's right. I was looking at Fan Factor. Never mind me. 3 rerolls, so, a failed pickup is not the end of the world, but with no block other than the other Beastman, you're really going to need those rerolls for those skulls.
Sure.
Yeah. He could even go, if he is as brave as you are, go Sure Hands Mighty Blow to get some of that removal game going.
I'm not that ballsy. I will never take Mighty Blow before block.
I've seen people do it.
Sure, I've seen people do it, but that doesn't mean I like it.
Speeds up development.
Well, I would actually beg to differ on that point. A lot of the teams I've seen that take Mighty Blow before block, the guys that have block are developing more because they can safely throw a block. You get that first bolt down skull with that Mighty Blow guy, and it will make you hesitant to throw a block with him a second time.
That is very true, but why need block when you just don't roll skulls?
I haven't put don't roll skulls into my game plan.
Exactly, I think you should do that. Why have sure hands when you don't fail pickups?
Now here's another option that you'll see is instead of sure hands, you take extra arms and make it a 2+. The percentages come out to be about the same, roughly a 2% difference, but it does open some other options with extra arms that sure hands maybe doesn't.
That is true. I'm very unsure. They're basically equal in most aspects, I think.
It's something like 83% versus 88 or something like that. So it's very negligible. But
yeah,
with the extra arms, I think you do get a intercept plus, right?
I think you do.
And then you also get a plus to catching the ball naturally, so...
Yes, and you're gonna reroll it. So a 1 in 9 won't completely ruin you.
Yep. So let's look at
I think sure hands is good.
Yeah. Let's look at some stats here. So we've got 1 win, 1 draw. No passing yards, 7 casualties inflicted, 4 touchdowns scored, 174 yards running. Are they getting beat up? Not so much.
No, I don't think so. Could be a lot worse. They haven't had any players die or get permed, so all in all, good position.
Now, considering what you just said, do you think this team would be a valid candidate for Lucker Noob?
Well, perhaps. I mean, a lot of other teams have been off a lot worse, so...
And the reason I ask this, even though I am jesting, is if you go back to the team roster, there's one crucial piece that's missing from this team that they could easily have purchased by now, and I recommend that they do purchase. The Apothecary.
Yes, I think you're absolutely correct. You'd hate to lose one of those more developed players, especially one of those warriors.
Oh, yeah. Normally it's some scrub, one die block from a zombie with no skills, and then all of a sudden your star player is totally dead because you didn't spend the 50k. And Chaos are not as, I guess, non-squishy as some other teams that you're going to face.
I mean, Nurgle has the Rotters, which are also AV8, but they're so cheap that you don't care if one dies, right? Yep. While Beastmen, on the other hand, you hate to see them go. You
That's
really
true.
do.
Yep. Easy to get out-muscled versus some of these other teams like Undead and Nurgle early on because Armor 8 and no regen hosed you.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
And in the interest of keeping things moving, that brings us to Bring Out Your Undead with Rand the Mad.
That's right.
Do you play Khemri? Are you an experienced Khemri coach?
Absolutely not. You kidding me? Khemri are the opposite of elves.
Ah, I love Khemri.
I do too, actually.
So much fun.
Not as much when they only have 3 Tomb Guardians.
That is an issue. 10k away from his 4th one, though.
That's true, so...
No. There's some wacky build options out there for Khemri, so I don't know which one he went with. I normally will go 2 Throw Raw, all 4 Tomb Guardians, 1 Blitz Raw, and I believe that's 3 rerolls.
I think that is probably the most common build. You might consider switching a Blitz Raw for a team reroll, maybe. But I think what you proposed is indeed the correct one.
Well, I don't know if it's correct or incorrect. It just seems the safest way to get 3 rolls right out of the box on them.
Yes, especially with those Tomb Guardians. You rely so much on them that a 1 in 9, taking one of them down, is like a real bad spot to be in.
And you're going to want them to be eating MVPs right out of the gate if you can. So having 4 of them increases the odds that one of them will get the crucial MVPs early in the season.
That's right. Although I think this team has been fairly fortunate in terms of MVPs. As 2 skeletons, only they didn't get any MVPs, only some injuries. So that's good.
I think we're doing a Holy Grail theme is what's going on here. I didn't see it at first, but your mother is a hamster is a dead giveaway.
Yes. Tis not is perhaps also...
good stuff.
I like it.
Sure.
I usually see that theme on Bretonnians, but why not Khemri?
Why not Khemri? We've got a great SPP spread here. Just SPP all over the place. They're going to hit that game where they just explode and everybody gets a level up all at once.
Absolutely. You do really want to see the Blitzdrawer level. Get that Mighty Blow, get some injuries going, get some SPP rolling, more levels. The block on the Throw Raw is pretty great.
Sure.
And the Tomb Guardians are, I mean, all of them are basically in MVP range except for the one.
The one that's not there.
Yes. Well, there's one on 2 SPP, so he's also in MVP range. Yes.
I mean the non-existent one.
Yes.
Gotta get 10k and get that 4th Tomb Guardian, buddy.
Yes. I mean, if you're really rolling over your opponent, you might consider handing off and scoring on one of the Tomb Guardians.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, I've seen people do it, and it works. When it works, right?
Yep, 5+.
Getting SPP on those Tomb Guardians is really rough without stuff like Mighty Blow, so... Now, scoring on them could be valuable.
On a normal roll, that's usually your first pick, is Mighty Blow.
That is... Well, is it? Because I have seen players either go full guard to get some more strength advantage, go full Mighty Blow, you know, to get that SPP, and I think the most competitive one might be guard Mighty Blow, guard Mighty Blow.
Yeah, it all depends on where you want to be at in the leaderboard come the end of the season.
And it's true. I think guard is more competitive for winning games, but it'll get you less SPP, so it's worse in the long run.
Yeah, you could make it 3 seasons without leveling a single Tomb Guardian because they all just have guard on them. So,
Yep.
yeah, who knows? Now, Bravely One away is 1 SPP away, so I almost want to say maybe kickoff return. So one's a sacker with block, tackle, Hail Mary pass. The other one's actually running the ball with kickoff return, block, fend probably is in there. Dodge on a double if you can get it.
Well, I'm not actually that sure because, well, I've never played Khemri in my life actually, so I have no idea how you would build the second thrower. Honestly.
Yeah, it all depends on what you roll. You know?
Yeah, could just like if you get Agi, obviously that becomes your ball carrier.
Oh no question.
Yes. Like you might go block and build the second ball carrier the same as the first one, just so you have a backup in case one dies. I'm not sure.
Yeah, all of them are valid options. Let's take a look at where this team's sitting here. We've got 1 win, 1 draw. Average score per match is 1, obviously, because they're Khemri.
Basically Nurgle.
7 casualties inflicted, quite a few yards running. 2 casualties sustained, no deaths given, no deaths taken. Pretty soft season for the Khemri starting out. I can't wait to see how they do in the regular bracket.
Absolutely. Khemri really start to shine a little later on, I think.
Indeed.
But this is a solid start. Really it is.
Yeah.
Get that 4th Tomb Guardian and you're on your way, right?
Get that 4th Tomb Guardian guy.
You really do. Need that.
Oh, and then we're back to the grind with another Nurgle coach. Harl Marl and the friendly Huggin folks.
More Nurgle, like, I can't believe the amount of Nurgle in this league. I really can't.
I think we're in the wrong div, you and I.
Exactly. Now this one is looking a little worse for wear in terms of SPP and levels. No real levels to be found anywhere, really.
A lot of SPP, no skills.
Plenty of SPP, exactly. Looking at the previous players, he had 2 Rotters die and a Pestigore, which definitely doesn't help.
No. Do not want to lose Pestigores.
Nope. I think he might have gone the 2 or 3 Pestigore route as the starting roster. I gave my feelings on that earlier. I guess it worked out for him because he's fairly high on the leaderboard here. In terms of, well, he did get the 1 as MVP on the Nurgle Warrior, which is great, but 0 SPP on the other is less great. Looks like the Rotters have been kind of hoarding the SPP. They're on 5-5-3 respectively. Not great. But
not great.
All in all, he has his positionals. He has a couple players from A level, so this can change quite rapidly.
Now, do you buy another Rotter for 12 players, or do you save up for another Pestigore?
I think you save up for a new reroll. That's what I think, especially with this little block, right?
I think you get the Pestigore. You can survive on 2 as long as you're getting levels, and you're bound to get some free Rotters out of one of these games.
Yes, you don't really buy Rotters as Nurgle. They come, naturally as you kill players.
One could hope.
Well, yeah, one can hope. Perhaps not as much early on without stuff like Mighty Blow or Claw.
Sure.
But later on, definitely. I can see the Pestigore buy. I can see the reroll buy. They're both valid options, I think.
Sure.
Now, what are their stats like? 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
Like, pretty good with standard Nurgle. I mean, people have been performing admirably with these teams, which usually shine at the higher TV brackets.
Mm-hmm.
2 touchdowns, so 1 each game. The trend continues. Yeah, they've done some damage.
A little bit.
They've taken more than they've given, I reckon. Losing 3 players as Nurgle is not great, especially when one of them is a positional.
Yeah, 2 deaths sustained. That's gotta hurt.
Yep, Decay doing Decay things.
Ugh, it's not pretty.
I mean,
So 1 casualty inflicted, and then 5 casualties sustained and 2 deaths is not.
yeah.
It's an uphill battle, sir.
Yep, it definitely is.
Maybe you should be less friendly and hugging and more unfriendly and fisting. I don't know.
Not sure on the last part there, but I agree. All in all, a solid team, I reckon.
Sure, it's good to go in with a decent spread like that too. I like to get a good spread of SPP and then just explode all over some bastard's face.
Right. What's the next team we have?
Looks like the Mutton Choppers with Xanax, another Chaos team.
Yep. Another one, like surprise, surprise, right? Now this is... We have a couple things to talk about here.
Uh-oh.
I think we do.
This one is surprising. Now, he does have an Apo. I like that.
That's very true. He does have a Minotaur. I like that less. Especially with only 3 warriors.
Yeah.
But he does have that Agi 4 Beastman.
You can't go wrong with that.
That is definitely quite good. Perhaps not as great as on something like Camry. You know, because, well, you won't be doing too much of that Agi play with the Chaos teams, but Agi 4 will be great, especially when you're in trouble with the ball carrier. Having to rely on a 3+ dodge when you have Agi 3 is a lot worse than a 2+ dodge. So I think he'll be very happy with this Beastman.
If he can keep him alive. I see that plus Agi, and that just says target to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people will definitely be gunning for it.
The other thing you got to be careful of is, don't let him eat up all the team's development.
Yes. If you get him perhaps a 2nd level, then you really have to start handing off to other players when you get near the end zone, so you can spread the love around. There's 2 Beastmen I can see, which are a touchdown from a level, and 2 out of the 3 warriors are very close to that. So definitely important not to focus too much on scoring just with that amazing player.
Yep. Get 1 more level and then start handing it off. Get block and call it a day on that guy.
Perhaps dodge.
Yeah, dodge if you can get it. There's nothing wrong with that. 2 heads is an option in there as well.
Well, I mean, Agi 5 is great, but I'm not sure how useful that really will be. I think there's stuff like Sure Hands, perhaps Kickoff Return, which might serve you better.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on how much elf bullshit you're wanting to try.
Basically. I mean, Agi 5 is crazy as always, right?
Yep. All right, so let's take a look here. 6 casualties inflicted, 3 touchdowns, 1 win, 1 draw, 146 yards running, no casualties sustained, which is a new one. Very lucky so far this season.
Wait, that's weird, because there's a warrior in his previous players. Did he fire a warrior?
Couldn't tell you, man.
I hope not.
All I got's what the game gives me, Gunner.
Yeah. Here on Rebel.net it says he had a warrior before, but who knows?
Well, we're going to have to bring this up with our dev team. They're really letting us down this time. All right, so let's take all these teams. We'll kind of take a look at what they're looking at for the next round and maybe try to make some predictions out of what's coming. If I can find the teams. in this mess.
Now, we will be doing 15 of those, not all of them, right? I mean, we could do a very short summary and go through all of them. I'm not sure.
Up to you. I've got to write.
You've got to, what?
I got to write stuff down.
Right.
So what's the first matchup that we're going to be looking at?
Nurgle Mirror between Cleverdon BBA and Full Throttle Rotters.
Ooh.
Yes, I think this will be... I mean, they're almost the exact same team value.
Mm-hmm.
They are almost the exact same team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this one will definitely be up to, well, the dice and the coach. One of them only has one reroll, while the other has two. And that's virtually the only difference, really.
I think that one reroll is going to seal it.
I absolutely agree, actually, because two rerolls, well, or one reroll rather, on a Chaos team really hurts. But he can make it work. Who knows?
I have to back Full Throttle on this one. That two rerolls is just too much.
The Dodge Pestigor might do something, and he actually has a Dirty Player Rotter, so that'll do some damage.
It's anybody's game.
Exactly.
Who are you backing for this week? Who do you think has got the gumption to pull it out?
I do think it'll be Full Throttle Rotters with the two rerolls and the Dirty Player. Dirty Player will provide the removals, and the reroll will, just help in general.
All right, you heard it here first. Full Throttle to win this week versus Clavert and BBA. Now, Brimful's already played versus the Dreaded Lurgy, so it looks like we can ignore that match. Thanks for hosing our prediction report for the rest of the week.
Very nice.
Rude. So now we're looking at Politicos versus Jopen Craft Beers. I don't know if I'm saying that right, so if I am not, feel free to tell me in Discord how I'm massacring your team name.
Well, craft beers, right?
Well, I'm sure I'm saying craft beers right. The first part I'm not so certain. Now, this is a team where we're waiting on those two level ups to be decided to really make a better prediction. But we've got... Looks like a Chaos team with no APO.
Versus a Dark Elf team with an APO.
Ooh.
I think in general, it's agreed that Dark Elves are better at low TV. They have 4 block pieces, with one of them having a pending level, while the Chaos has 1 block piece. Right. The Chaos does have an extra reroll, which will make up for it somewhat. But I think they might struggle. 3 dice will be somewhat important. Try and get those. Perhaps hope for some 1s while the Dark Elves try dodging out. I think this might be a relatively close one, honestly. Sure. These are some of the upper teams in the division, so.
That's true. Well, I'm gonna call Joppen Craft Beers to take this one. What do you think?
I actually think it'll be the Dark Elves.
Oh, I like it. I like the contention.
Yeah. I think the perhaps getting Blodge on that one Blitzer will make a pretty big difference. I really do. That's why I think the Dark Elves will take that one.
You could be correct.
Hope I am.
Oh, the next one we want to look at, I think, is going to be Pain for Pleasure. Versus who are they playing against this week?
The Toxic Adventurers.
Oh, they already played.
Already been played.
Oh, people are terrible. Terrible.
I agree.
All right. Well, then we're going to look at Rambunctious Rebels. Versus somebody. Oh, they already played 2. Man, you guys are ruining this for us.
Sweet.
Ugh. Just a letdown.
That's what we get for doing it on a Saturday, I guess. We could do it on a Thursday, I don't know.
Well, what do we got left? We got the Stabbing Stabbers and Chevtek.
Have they played? Their game has been scheduled for today, an hour ago. So they might still be playing, actually.
Huh. It could be. Let me see if I can find him on
No,
this
actually,
board here.
today, 15 minutes ago.
Ah, so you can
Right,
catch that
time
game
zone.
right now. Versus
I
the
think
Scions of Shannara. Now, we haven't looked at the Scions yet, but I'm more than happy to bring them up really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a human team.
A human team with an MA busted Blitzer.
Now, he's out this match anyway, so we don't need to worry about him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just the three Blitzers, the Ogre, some linemen, a thrower, and a catcher.
That's right, but this team actually has a couple levels, 3 to be exact. Mighty Blow on that Blitzer will go a long way towards victory, I think. Other than that, Wrestle on the catcher is interesting. That tells me he might want to be trying to go for a sacker, which I'm not sure about.
Yeah, I'm on the fence. But
yes.
I do feel confident that the Stabbing Stabbers can pull this one out, even though they only have the 2 gutter runners.
I think I'd have to agree with you. Rat Ogre, not great, but Skaven are just that good.
Yep, you heard it here first. Rat Ogre makes us sad.
No one said that before.
And then we got Bring Out Your Undead versus Ruining Everybody's Fun. Bring Out Your Undead is one of the teams that we looked at. Let's see what they're matched up against. Looks like Chaos Dwarf. So, yep, it literally is the one guy that is ruining everybody's fun with Chaos Dwarves.
The thing is, though, that Chaos Dwarves actually kind of struggle against Henry. It's one of the few matchups I think Chaos Dwarves are not super happy about. Those Guardians can definitely bully them, but he only has 3 of them.
That's true.
He only has 3 of the Tomb Guardians, so I think some of that advantage is definitely lost there. The Chaos Dwarves, of course, starting with like 4 or 5 block, right? Some tackle. So actually 6 block. So I mean, they also have a Bull Centaur with block.
Yep.
This is a solid team, right?
Standard jerk Chaos Dwarf.
Basically, at least he doesn't have to deal with Mighty Blow and Claw.
Sure.
Yet.
Oh, it's anybody's game. I'm going to go with a strong tie.
I think it might be close, but I'd go for the Chaos Dwarves here.
Oh, man. Ruining everybody's fun. Who do we got left to look at for matches? Some of these have already been played, so that's kind of throwing us off a little bit. I think we got Xanax, Harlmoral, Rand the Mad. I don't know if we looked at his yet. Let me go back to the leaderboard here. So that's Friendly Huggin' Folks, Mutton Choppers. Yeah, I think it's just those 2, actually. Okay, so let's go over to the schedule here and see if we can find either of those teams. We got Mutton Choppers versus Banda blah 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 blah. That's a name.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's some sort of Scandinavian, perhaps.
It looks like a dwarf team, so another team ruining everybody's fun. Only 1 level up on the dwarf team. It's a plus movement on the runner. Everything else is standard. 2 rerolls, 1 apothecary, 11 players, no death roller.
Well, that's a good thing, at least no death roller. 2 runners is honestly kind of interesting because that brings less AV but more movement to the table. So he does. With that, he can, mitigate some of that dwarf movement disadvantage. But it's not really like the Chaos are going to run too far away anyways, right?
It's true. The other thing is the Chaos only have 1 player with block, whereas the dwarf team has pretty much every player with block. And I think that's going to be a huge deciding factor.
Absolutely. Like, dwarves are so strong in the beginning, right? Mass block and dodge, not dodge, but tackle. Dauntless will actually also come into play here, trying to knock down some of those warriors.
Yep. And that Minotaur.
Yep.
Yeah. You get that Minotaur down, you stick a boot in. That's standard practice.
Exactly.
So I have to say Banda on this one, unfortunately. It makes me sad.
The dwarfs, I think, will take this one home.
All right, that's 2 for Banda, so look out this week, Xanax. And the last match we're going to predict on this week is going to be Friendly Huggin' Folks versus the Injurious Bastards. Now, we did look at both these teams. One of them was the Lizard Coach, I believe.
That's right.
The Lizard Man team with a couple skills, but not much to speak of. Versus Friendly Huggin' Folks, which of course is a Nurgle team because that's all we have in this division.
With nothing to speak of. This is the one that had 3 players killed.
Yeah, he's looking pretty beat up. I gotta go with the Bastards on this one. I feel like they're gonna outrun him.
I think you're correct. I mean, the fact that no block is anywhere to be seen on the Nurgle team makes all of those skings basically blodge. So knocking those buggers down will be extremely irritating. Together with the fact that, well, Chaos kind of gets outstrengthened here, and the Croxigore will definitely put in some work.
It's true. Now, Friendly Huggin' Folks, one saving grace is they do have the Beast and Nurgle, so they could potentially tie up 3 players all at once on the other team, the Bastards team. If he can get on 3 skinks and keep them there, he might be in a good spot.
Yes, but what Lizard Coach exposes his skinks that much, right?
So that's a good question.
I doubt he'll be able to get more than maybe 1 skink on the Beast, but he'll really have to be careful.
Yep, I'm gonna stick with the Bastards on this one. I hate to do it to Harlmerl, but I just got a feeling.
I agree.
All right, you heard it here first, folks. I think that's gonna wrap up this recap. Gunnar, do you have anything to add?
I don't think I do, honestly.
All right, so because of our time zone difference, I feel comfortable sticking with this Saturday slot, even though there'll be a couple games that get played before we get a chance to take a look at them. So if this same time, same place works for you, then I think we can do that every weekend pretty reliably.
Yeah, I think that will work.
All righty then. All right, well, good luck, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll cover your team. If we did not get to it this week, we will get to it in the weeks to come.
Yes.
And then hopefully we'll cover everybody by the end of the season and find out just exactly how does this all work. Maybe.
We'll have to ask Metal.
All right, well, good luck, everybody. I am Michaels, joined by Gunnerside. And we will catch you next week.
Yep.